I just seen a report about some little jackasses in none other than Midland, Texas.
In Midland, Texas?
Midland, Texas. And here's what the report's saying. Actually, I could read it for you if you want to hear about it. But, everything that I do is always for truckers, and the trucking industry. And I get kind of perturbed when I see bull crap going on. Everybody's going, what the hell? What's that boy talking about? But anyways, a trucker said someone threw 2 big rocks off of a bridge.
I hate that.
And I'm looking at a picture of the passenger side window smashed. And it's not something new.
No, it's not.
I remember, was it Illinois, where there's actually a video, you can go on YouTube and you can see with these 3 or 4 kids. I mean, they're only like teenagers. I think there's one that's like 19 or 20 and the rest are like 14, 15. They were throwing cinder blocks and all kind of, they actually, I don't know if they killed somebody, but they really hurt somebody. Somebody might have died, but like you could see them being arraigned in court. And they're scared to crap, which they should be. But now here we got Midland, Texas. A new one. It says a truck driver reported that he was targeted by a suspect or suspects throwing rocks at his vehicle over the weekend in Midland, Texas, which we know is out in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. And so the article goes on to say the rock throwing incident occurred on Saturday, April 22nd. The driver was eastbound on I-20 at mile marker 140 in Midland when someone threw 2 big rocks into the truck from the overpass, which hit the passenger side windshield and landed in the bunk of the bed.
Wow.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like a rock will come through like a bullet. Mm-hmm. If you're doing, say, 70 and you hit a rock, it's like somebody throwing a 70-mile-an-hour fastball.
Right.
And if you're going faster than that, and just imagine if it would have been on the driver's side, it could kill you. It could knock him out at least, and then he could wreck and hit other people. I mean, just all kind of stupid stuff can happen.
Right.
So anyway, my guess is it's usually when this happens, it's usually a couple of kids.
Punks.
I was going to say punks, but you said punks.
Punks.
That's like an old term, little punk.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, even Clint Eastwood, go ahead, punk. Make my day. But here's the thing. When you're an adolescent or you're a teen and you're bored and something in your brain, and I hope maybe there's some kids listening in because we got a lot of people listen. Maybe you're thinking that it would be such a fun idea and get yourself giggling, get your little face all full of smirky smirks, because you're going to throw little things off there. And it's so funny when it smashes into a windshield. But I'm telling you, go on YouTube and look at those 4 kids that got arraigned. They weren't smirking anymore. In fact, they looked like they were going to jail. They were going to be doing time. Because I do believe somebody had died at the one we were talking about in Illinois. But now you may have these kids in Midland, and I don't know that they read CDL Life or Overdrive. Maybe it made the local newspaper in Midland. I don't know, but here's my idea. If you live in Midland, Ruth Ann, would Midland not be some little hick town where everybody knows everybody's cousin and everybody knows what's going on in that town? I wouldn't be willing to bet that most people know a lot of each other's business.
I would say they'd be able to tell, it's not that huge to where, maybe some people did recognize as they were going past a vehicle or, a kid that would have been in that. I would say that there would be something that would be a giveaway.
Well, I want to catch these, what'd you call them?
Punks.
These punks. I want to catch the punks. So I know we got people in Midland that listen to us. We get the graphics or the numbers. Mm-hmm. So what I want y'all to do in Midland is put your ears to the ground, because one of the things about criminals is that they're not smart. They never are.
No. And kids will there's going to be something that's going to be said.
Well, exactly, the bragging. Mm-hmm. Somebody somebody already told their buddy at school or they were at a party and yeah, Jimmy stupid ass threw a rock off the bridge and hit some trucker and you guys were all smoking weed, just hanging out, just bullshitting and laughing. Well, I'm telling you, there's more than just those two punks or three or whatever it was on the bridge. More than just those guys know about it by now.
Oh yeah, definitely, because then it goes to, you know what I heard? I heard that, would you say Johnny?
I didn't say Johnny, but it could be Jimmy. Johnny could be
Whoever.
Bobby. It's the kid with the rock in his hand. You know,
Right.
the idiot that hangs out. Maybe they hang out in that area. Probably, I wouldn't doubt it. Most likely, they're probably walkers or bicyclers, and they probably didn't just drive up there to do it. With a car. My guess is, it is really a young crowd that got there on foot or on bicycle.
Could have been. But, the police are going to be able to pull up information from there. Like, if they're little smokers, they're going to find butts there,
Well, whatever they find there, that's fine. I'm just making a plea to the other kids or to the people and even the parents. Ask your kids or your nephews or whoever you know that's of the younger crowd. Hey, what'd you hear? What's the word on the street? Who's got the hand with the rock? Okay, that messed up that trucker. I'm telling you, I guarantee you, all you got to do is ask around. Eventually, somebody's gonna spit it out, and guess what? We're gonna get these kids, these punks. The punks. So, anyways, if you punks are listening, which we know they're not listening to us. But you never know.
You never know.
Never know. I hope they get caught. I'm telling you, and I want to know. And if you know who did it, you can call us, but I would rather you just call the police and just turn them in. It'd just be anonymous, because eventually they could throw a rock through somebody, a car, and hurt one of your loved ones out there in Midland.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. If they don't get stopped, they start out small.
Yeah, and it didn't say if he was an over-the-road trucker or, was he from the area. But the bottom line is, and there's a picture right here of the rock. My gosh, the size of this rock, it looks like half the size of a pillow. So they had to just drop it, or, lunge it off there, because there ain't no way you're just throwing this thing that far by hand.
Wow.
So anyways, Ruth Ann, hopefully we catch those punks. If you know who did it, or you hear who did it, or you even suspect who did it, make a call to the police, because honestly and truly, this is our trucking community, y'all, and we don't want our area unsafe. If we can do something about it, if anybody that listens to Talk CDL can do something about it, let's do it. I'm serious. And you know what? It's not ratting. You're not a rat if you call it in. I would call it in. If I knew who did it, I'd call it in. And if it was one of my kids, I'd kick his ass first. So that's just the bottom line. Moving on. Hey, Ruth Ann, let's take a break. Drivers, if you're looking for a local, home, everyday driving job, apply with Carter Lumber today. They have positions for Class A and Class B local drivers. They can take experienced drivers, students, and non-CDL drivers. With over 160 locations, chances are they have a position for you. So go to carterlumber.com/talkcdl and apply today. Again, that's carterlumber.com/talkcdl. Thank you. Hey drivers, are you sick of watching the other drivers bypass the way station while you are held up going through yourself? Well, download DriveWise today at www.drivewise.com. That's DRIVEWYZE.com, and start bypassing the scales yourself. If you're a small carrier, an owner-operator, or even a big fleet looking for something better, check out DriveWise today. And remember, there's no equipment, no transponders needed when you're using DriveWise. Check them out for a free download at www.drivewYZE.com. Are you a trucking company that is needing to hire Class A CDL drivers? Then you've come to the right place. With over 25 years of recruiting truckers, Diesel Jockeys can have qualified drivers scheduled for your next orientation. They work with carriers that need solos, teams, and student drivers looking for local, regional, OTR, company, and lease purchase positions anywhere in the United States. Check them out today at www.dieseljockeys.com. That's www.dieseljockeys.com. If you're a driver looking for a new trucking job, check out NCI. NCI offers the following: new Kenworth T680s, competitive wages, solo, team, and students welcome, plus a full benefit package for you and your family. Check them out today at 888-311-7076. That's 888-7076. And tell them Talk CDL sent you. Truck Parking Club is a network of instantly reservable daily and monthly truck parking locations throughout the U.S. Truck Parking Club helps connect truckers to truck parking locations throughout the U.S. via truckparkingclub.com. Our networks is made up of property owners that have locations adequate for truck parking to list on the platform. This includes trucking companies, storage companies, CDL schools, trailer leasing companies, real estate investors, truck parking operators, and more. Go to truckparkingclub.com today. All right, we be back.
We be moving.
So, Ruth Ann.
What?
I got a neat little story going on here that I just read, and I wanted to talk about it just for a little bit because it's ironic that this story came up. It's actually about sex discrimination. Okay. And obviously sexual discrimination would be more against a woman, than a man, obviously.
Mostly. In
the industry. And a trucking company recently lost in court a sexual discrimination case. It says Ohio Trucking Company to pay $1.25 million in sex discrimination lawsuit.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it says federal authorities say that an Ohio headquartered trucking company has agreed to pay more than $1 million to settle a lawsuit claiming that the company discriminated against female workers.
So does it say what kind of workers?
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. All right, here we go. It's R&L Carriers, which everybody knows who they are.
Yeah.
They're going to pay $1.25 million to settle a lawsuit filed in U.S. by the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, according to an April 25th news release. It says the lawsuit argued that between January of 2010 and December of 2017, so this went on almost 8 years, R&L Carriers discriminated against women by hiring new female job applicants as loaders, instead rejecting their application or steering them towards other jobs because of their gender. So basically trying to steer them away from the jobs they deemed harder, that they shouldn't be, that they wouldn't think they could do it. So if they were trying to get jobs as loaders, females would apply for it, and it looks like, apparently, I'll read that part again. It says the lawsuit argued that between 2010 2017, R&L discriminated against women by hiring new female job applicants as loaders, instead rejecting their application or steering them towards other jobs because of their gender. So apparently, they either turned them down or they tried to steer them to a job they probably felt was more of a fit for the female.
It sounds like they hired him as loaders, though.
No, I know it said it says by hiring a new female job applicant as loaders. I think it sounds like almost like a misprint because it sounds like, because it says right after that they instead rejected them or hired them or tried to push them to another job.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. I mean, because loaders would be a...
Well,
that's why I think you're right,
Well, I'm wondering if loader like loader being hand load or using forklifts?
Forklifts, pallet jacks, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder what they're trying to apply for. I mean,
So, well, obviously they're trying to apply for loading. Okay. It says the alleged discriminatory conduct resulted in a large difference in the percentage of female applicants who were hired compared to the male applicants who were hired, the EEOC said. The EEOC says that the company's employment practices violated Title, it's Roman numeral VII. Is that seven? Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. As part of a settlement, officials will attempt to locate the women that were affected by the discriminatory practices. And it says, as part of the settlement, the company was ordered to stop discriminating against women in its hiring practices and to invite rejected female workers to reapply for loader positions. Women in the United States play a vital role. It goes on to say great things about women, blah, blah, blah. Sex discrimination is illegal, blah, blah, blah. I mean, and I agree.
Hiring women, blah, blah, blah. Let's not get too descriptive there.
Well, look, I mean, let me tell you, I'm going to give you an example why I said it's ironic that this article just came out. I was talking to a carrier probably a week or two ago, won't give any names, and this is not just one carrier, okay? I was told this carrier, they got a few thousand trucks, and they told me that, like, when they go to hire a female driver, the female drivers are, it may be, 6 months till they can get a woman in with the right trainer.
Mm-hmm.
You see, like, do you remember, I think it was Prime or one of them carriers that had the female trainee thing going on a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be wrong. It might not be Prime, but I think it was. But anyways, the thing with this carrier, they were telling me, I said to them, they said, we don't got enough female trainers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, well, what about if you get a female that's willing to go to male? You know what he said to me? He said, that's all well and good, but I don't have any male trainers that are willing to train a female.
Yeah.
Because of being accused.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it's almost like reverse, I don't want to say reverse discrimination, but reverse accusation in a sense.
Right.
So a lot of men these days, well, first off, if you have a wife at home, and you become a trainer, and now you're asked to have a female in the cab with you, that's not a good thing. Obviously, as a trainer, you can't keep that truck running as a team where you're sleeping and she's driving. Therefore, there's a time every night where you bed down and, clothes are coming off, in a sleeping way, I guess. And, women, I wouldn't blame a wife for being at home wondering what's going on in that cab. Would you?
Well,
you have a funny look on your face. I mean, like if I was training like some chick, and if I know you, it would depend on how she looked.
Well, here's the thing. I sleep next to you. So
but if I was training, you wouldn't.
No, I mean, I would be in a different bunk. I mean, I'd be up in the top or,
No, I'm talking about if I was training other women.
No, what I'm saying, you let me.
Finish. Go ahead.
So, because I sleep next to you, I know what it's like. And I think if a female in the truck would have to be there in that tractor with you, I don't think when she sees how you are, boy, I'm really screwing this up, aren't I?
So, but I'm not talking about the actual sleeping part.
No, what I'm saying is after they're around you for a little bit, they might not really go much further. Your package looks great.
Okay, Ruth Ann, let's keep this PG-13 max. Okay.
No, what I'm saying is, you're great looking. You got the great package as far as like all around.
I am not.
But once we get to the
truckers don't want to hear that.
Once you open your mouth and start talking, they might look at you and go, "Yeah, okay, let's get to driving."
You're just too funny. No, listen. First off, truckers don't want to hear about how I look. All right.
No, I'm saying to a female.
Right. Well, we don't. Here's what I'm getting at, though. If a man is training a female. Okay, it doesn't really matter what the man looks like. If a woman's at home and she knows there's an attractive, even a semi-attractive woman, 24/7 now with her husband, going down the road talking,
bonding,
just having dinner together, all that stuff. You know what I mean? You're eating. I'm
not going to deny that it can't happen.
I mean, I know you wouldn't like that. No matter how much I snore and how much I might talk like an idiot and ruin my chances with the new girl. But no, I'm just being serious now. I literally think that I can see why, like this guy told me, they have a hard time finding a man that is willing to take a female for the simple reason of maybe being accused of it's happened a lot.
Oh yeah,
I've actually talked to female truckers that said, my trainer hit on me all the time. He was making passes, sexual discrimination. I even filed a lawsuit. So people are afraid of women.
Right. No, I'm in all seriousness, I agree 100% with you. I will, and with the company, I will say that it doesn't matter on how either driver looks, the trainer or the trainee. It's not a good situation to put opposite sex, no matter what the circumstances, in the tractor for a long period of time.
They say the hardest people to fire is women, right? And ethnic women and the older women. So it's like companies are afraid of women. I'm just telling you, this is just true numbers, right? You can't even terminate a woman a lot of times because of sexual discrimination. Boom. So now imagine being told you got to train one, which ain't going to happen. And so I'm not siding with R&L carriers and not giving out, because we know Kelly McCulley, how great of a flatbed lady she is. She's a good worker. I mean,
yeah,
you know
definitely.
what I mean? I know lots of women that know how to run forklifts and do all kinds of stuff. I'm not really siding with that, but at the same time, I'm going to tell you something. I know a lot of flatbed companies, and I know they'll train people, and every one of them have told me if a woman applies, they will do their best to deter that, because most women that you put on flatbed, don't even last 30 days. They just don't, especially when they got to start throwing tarps, especially if it's winter. They got a chain, but some of them have this determination to prove to themselves that they're going to do this job as good as a man. And look, it is what it is. Men are stronger. Let's not bullshit anybody about that. I'm not here to play games and watch what I say. I love women. I have no problem with women. I didn't mean it that way, Ruth. And she's like, "Well, you love women, huh?" No, I just love
After we just got talking about you being in a truck with someone.
I love everybody in that respect, and I give that same respect to people. But let's be honest. You get a woman that's 110 pounds. She applies for a flatbed job. She's never ever done flatbed work before, but now because of sexual discrimination, you got to give her a chance. If she qualifies, she's got a good driving record, she's got all this stuff going on. Guess what? The numbers say she's not going to make it, and most flatbed companies will tell you, nope, they never do make it. Most of them.
Don't they have a physical test that you have to take though?
Well, that's another thing. That physical that a lot of companies were using, the aptitude or whatever it was called, where they had to squat and duck walk and all kinds of bullshit. Guess what? A lot of those companies got sued too. So a lot of guys women and men that were maybe overweight, they couldn't stoop down. A lot of them were getting in trouble because of making these guys do all kinds of physical labor in the physical.
Well, I could see with some of that. You're not going to be using that during your job. It's not part of that job qualification or what you're going to be doing. But as a person coming into tarp, chain, tie down, any of that stuff.
And that's just a good example.
You should be able to, you should be able to prove, I mean, because most companies, when you go to them, even your Walmarts, if you're going to be a stocker on the shelves, you have to show that you can lift a certain kind of weightage.
I agree.
And as a person coming into the flatbed industry, if you're going to be doing any of the tarping, those tarps, some of them could be extremely heavy, even the chains. So you should be able to show that you can lift them and throw them and do what you need to do with them to be able to even qualify for the company.
Look, I'm not saying that women aren't as good of a driver as a man. In fact, we know that they take care of the trucks better. In most cases. Now, don't get me wrong. I've been in some guys' trucks where you can eat off the floor, and they take care of that truck, really beautiful. But most lady truckers are very neat. Okay, most. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some slobs, but the bottom line is, they drive just as good. But when it comes to certain jobs in the industry, you actually have to hire them because they qualify. And if you don't, like this, one of the questions I have, this happened between, it said, 2010, 2017, right? So the beginning of 10 and the end of 17, which makes it about 8-year period, this was going on. They alleged, right? Well, actually not alleged because they lost and agreed to pay. So they were found guilty of it. But my question is, how did they even know? You see what I'm saying? Like, how did they even know to investigate this? Well, it sounds like an inside job. It sounds like somebody reported it.
Well, with some companies, you have to the equal opportunity agencies. You have to show them your hiring criteria. What you've hired throughout the years.
But this is only for this job. That's what I'm getting at. They still had a lot of women working for them,
and that might be part of it where they had to break it down. I don't know that because I haven't had to deal with that portion of the industry. But like you said, someone inside the company saying, my sister applied and she got turned away. So then we said and had my aunt apply and blah, 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 blah. And you never know.
It sounds like someone was shaving the cat.
Shaving the cat?
Yeah. Somebody shaved the cat. That's my new saying. Someone took the hair off the cat. I'm just saying, somewhere along the line, somebody on the inside. To me, it smells like somebody on
cat
the
litter.
Somebody on the inside, yes. And you can call me. You could say that I'm discriminated against women all you want. I don't give a crap. I'm just saying I respect and stick up for women, but there's certain jobs.
I'm a woman. Now, I can honestly say there's certain things that we shouldn't do.
No, but don't get me wrong. Look at Kelly McCulley. She's skinny. She knows how to chain tarp, strap, everything. She knows what she's doing, and she's an older woman too. She's not.
You can beat him, Kelly. I give you authorization.
No, I don't mean she's an old lady.
She's gonna get you now.
I just mean she's not 20, 30 years old.
No.
She's probably in her 50s. Kelly is. I mean, I'm guessing she's at least 40s. So there she is doing the job of a man. That's great. But the odds are not with women when it comes to certain physical jobs. And that's really
she's had surgery for some of those.
And she's actually
her shoulder and stuff.
She had a lot of surgeries over it. But so do men. And just, on the other side of the coin, I'll tell you this. One of the other people flatbed companies don't like to hire a man that's over 50 that's never done flatbed before. They'll take a guy that's 70 that's been flatbedding because that guy's strong and knows what he's doing. But you get some guy that's really in his 40s or 50s and he now decides he wants to be a flatbedder. Those guys, 99% of those guys don't make it either. These are just numbers. I'm just giving you numbers on where people fail. So now when you say a loader, I used to work at New Penn in Pennsylvania. And I drove tractor trailer for them, but I also did loading. And sometimes you had to lift some heavy crap, man. And I'm talking heavy stuff because you're in there loading. And I think R&L Carriers is probably a LTL company. I think they are. I could be wrong. But like New Penn, which was owned by Roadway, it was all LTL. There might have been 30 stops on there. So it wasn't just a certain product going on. It was all kind of stuff. And sometimes you had to hammer stuff down and nail it down to the floor. Sometimes you got some big rolls of carpet. You had to be able to lift that stuff. And certain people are just not cut out for it. So you get somebody that comes into your workplace and says, I want to apply for a job, and you're looking at them and you're going, there's no way this person can do the job.
Right. And that's why I said you should have a physical that should be approved, that anybody coming in should have to do when it comes to that. Lifting the tarps, throwing the tarps, the chains, that kind of stuff. That should be one that shouldn't be able to be argued with, period.
Now, I'm going to end this segment on one thing. For all you ladies that are about to send me hate mail, don't do it. Okay? If you are strong enough to do your job, hooray for you. I'm not saying every woman. I'm just saying odds on certain jobs are not for ladies. It just isn't. There's a reason why there's no woman in the NFL. There's a reason why women boxers don't fight women boxers. There's a reason why, or women boxers don't fight men boxers.
Say what? No,
women boxers fight. I'm just saying there's a reason why they don't put women up against men in boxing, UFC. They don't put women up against men in football. It just doesn't happen because their frame is not built for it physically. And I'll stick to that. Okay. So if you're a woman and you're doing a really hard job that men do, good for you. I'm glad for you. I don't have a problem with a woman that can do the job, Ruth Ann. I just have a problem when a company gets sued because they know that this person isn't cut out for this job and they try to deter it. And so I'm just saying, you know what? Time to move on.
Moving on.
All right, Ruth Ann. You had something about California.
I did.
And I really thought it was interesting because it was the first time, I think, in a long time that I said, yay for California. I actually like California's decision. And you were just kind of briefing me on it. So go ahead, and the floor is all yours.
Well, the California lawmakers looking to ban automated trucks with no safety driver. So what they're saying is they're submitted a bill. They've already gone through the first hurdle or two hurdles on getting this bill passed. And what it's going to be is a bill that effectively bans autonomous commercial trucks unless a driver is in the cab in California. Cleared another hurdle last week, passing the State Committee of Communications and Conveyance. Introduced in January, the legislation is authored by California Assembly members, and it prohibits the operation of an autonomous vehicle with a gross vehicle weight of 10,000 pounds or more on a public road for testing purposes, transporting goods, or transporting passengers without a human safety operator physically inside the truck at the time of an operation. That bill is going to be called AB 316.
They got a lot of ABs out there. But I'm going to say this, kind of a cool thing. California is saying what a lot of truckers are saying. Hey, do we really trust a machine to go down the road with 80,000 pounds and not have a man or a woman in there to at least grab the steering wheel if something goes wrong in that truck?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And so, hats off to California because I disagree with most of their laws out there. In fact, they have a law, I don't know if I'll get to it, where they're trying to have no diesel trucks by like 2045. And by next year, I think you have to have half of your electric trucks already ordered, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But hats off to California for saying, you know what? We think autonomous trucks are just not ready to be without a driver.
Yeah, and that's one of the, California is one of the home to more than half of a dozen developers of the autonomous technologies.
And you said, was it U.S. Express? You said
they opposed it.
They opposed it.
Yeah.
So, and that's because, let's be honest, that's because you said USA or U.S. Express?
U.S. Express.
U.S. Express. So I don't know if I said USA Truck or U.S. Express, but I'm saying U.S. Express is opposing the bill because why? Because obviously they have autonomous trucks they're looking to shove out into the industry without truck drivers. And, the more states or counties or places make rules up saying, no, you're going to have a driver in it or you're not going to be in our state, the more big companies like U.S. Express and people that want to get rid of drivers. I'm not saying U.S. Express wants to get rid of drivers, but if you have a problem with a driver being in the truck, then I would say, you're not on the side of the driver.
Well, here's something funny. I'll read you. There is more than 55 businesses or organizations and companies that have opposed it. And they are the Institute for Safer Trucking, Cal Chamber, California Small Business Associations, U.S. Express, California Manufacturers and Technology Associations, California Hispanic Chamber, San Francisco Chamber of Commerce, and state-based AV companies, which of course, they're the ones that are producing them.
I was going to say, I'd love to see what they're invested in.
Right. But here's someone, the Teamsters and the California Labor Federation actually are supporting it.
Well, of course,
they're supporting.
The Teamsters. They that's because of the Teamsters for drivers,
right? So it's like they're trying to stand behind it, and the California Labor Federation's trying to stand behind it because they know that it's going to be something that's really good for the industry by not having, it's going to keep more drivers in the road, and you can't just trust technology all the time.
I don't trust technology. I trust technology to take my job. That's about it. So
right. I have a few shout outs that we have left yet.
So moving on, Ruth Ann.
Moving on. I was gonna get to that.
You know what's funny? Everybody that we met at the show, when they come up to the booth, they're going, "Hey, moving on."
Moving on.
So they like that moving on.
They do.
It lets everybody know when we're, because some people will be like, "What are they talking about?"
Yeah, when I go from subject to subject and not actually letting anybody know I did that.
Yeah, moving on, girl.
Moving on.
That's your catchphrase. You got me saying it. So anyways, you got some shout outs from the show?
I do. I have a couple more shout outs from that are left. I have Mother Trucking Life. That was Carolyn Russell. I have Toe Jam that wants a shout out.
You know what? If somebody nicknamed me Toe Jam, I mean, come on. Is it a he or a she?
It's Ron.
Yeah. Ron. Yeah. Ron Toe Jam what? What's his last name? Does it say?
He wrote it. It looks like Stevenson, but I'm not 100% sure because it's a guy handwriting and it kind of threw me off a little.
Shout out to the Toe Jam.
Right. Then we have Amy Willis.
Good for you, Amy.
Roy Powell APUs.
Hey, so Roy Powell APUs. Yeah. Nice.
And Brogan Lester from Big Rig Showdown. We have Shelly Conaway.
Shout out, Shelly.
And we have James Hatfield. Mark with McLeod.
All right. Shout out to you guys. All right.
And then last one, Zeke Dog.
Zeke Dog. Shout out to the Zeke Dog. All right.
And that is finally all the shout outs.
Yay.
Yay.
And we should mention, since we are talking about truck shows, we are now booked for the Houston, Texas show.
Right, we do.
And that's is that like mid-June or something, Ruth Ann? Is that, I think, like the end of June?
The end of June. It's June 23rd, 24th.
So right after my birthday. Hint, I want birthday presents.
It's the 22nd.
I'm just kidding. I hate
so you can get them as much shaving cream.
All right, let's move on.
Moving
on. So, I wanted to talk to you about something real quick. Interesting article I was looking at, and this is, we are very big advocates for truckers to be able to protect themselves, carry guns, if it's right, if it's legal with your company, and it's legal in the state or your permit, or basically the rules and the laws of each state you're in. You really need to know. And this is a great example of why. Mm-hmm. Listen to this story. It's just a quick little story. Missouri truck driver arrested for carrying a concealed weapon in Eaton County. Okay, so now here's it says Charlotte, Michigan, this is a trucker from Missouri, comes into Michigan. It says a Missouri semi-truck driver has been arrested for carrying a concealed weapon in Eaton County, Michigan, announced the arrest on Friday. It says hometown security team with another gun seized, MSP wrote, further investigation after a traffic stop on I-96 in Eaton County for a semi-truck speeding. So this is, first off, let's stop right there for a second. Whenever you're doing something illegal, a lot of times people do dumb things, Ruth Ann. Like, for example, the drug runners.
Yes.
What do? They speed with 500 pounds of heroin in the trunk, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying this trucker knew that it was illegal, but here's what I would tell anybody.
Okay.
First off, If you're not speeding, you're not going to get pulled over and somehow searched.
Mm-hmm.
And why would they even want to search him? You know what I'm saying? So you get pulled over for, this is the funny part. I've been pulled over for speeding in a track trailer. Not one time did anybody ever say they want to search my truck. So now maybe if they DOT you, but they get suspicious of the way you're acting.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he thought, because I think it's going to say they found a couple guns in this truck. Okay.
Wow. Oh, okay.
But no, they're legal in his state. It was just illegal in Michigan. It was, here it says, police said the 27-year-old driver from Missouri, when the firearm was discovered, he was arrested and was being lodged for carrying a concealed weapon. It says the open carry and concealed carry of firearms is legal in Missouri without a concealed carry permit. Just like Florida. You don't have to have a concealed carry permit in the state of Florida as long as you're above the age that you have to be and you don't have any felonies. Anybody now in Florida can carry a gun without having to have a permit. They sell permits, and they say it's a good idea to get one if you're going to be going out of state, but you do not have to have one if you don't have a felony. It says it's legal in Missouri without a concealed carry permit if you're 19 years or older, and you can possess a firearm. It says in Michigan, while it is legal for one person to carry a firearm in public, the firearm may not be concealed without a license. So this is how they got him. He had the gun concealed in the bunk or somewhere in the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's legal. If he would have been walking around in that town with the gun on his side, he'd have been fine. That's what that just said.
Yeah.
But because it was concealed, he had to have a permit. And exactly, even though he's from another state, this is why we always tell everybody, if you're going into each state, you got to know their laws. And this was a county law. So I'll tell you something what happened to me when I was like 16 or 17. My cousin and I, we were in Vermont, right? And I was speeding. And it was funny because I'm flying. We see this cop. He's got somebody pulled over on the other side of the interstate or the highway. But apparently he's just letting him go and shot me. And he flew behind us. Okay.
Okay.
So he gives us a ticket. He gives me a ticket. He didn't give Jay one. But because I had a set of nunchucks. You know, he's 17. You think you're cool. You get your nunchucks. So I had these nunchucks, and they were on the back seat.
Mm-hmm.
And they were half covered up by like our gym bag or something. I forget what. We weren't trying to hide anything. But anyways, the cop said to us, I'll never forget this. He said, you're lucky I can see those nunchucks. He said, because anything concealed needs a permit. And he said, if I would have discovered them and they were fully concealed, you guys would have went to jail.
Wow.
Yeah. So you got to know the rules and the laws in each state. Guys, if you're carrying a gun in your truck, ladies, guys, okay, you got to know it's worth at least studying. Like if you're a regional driver and you carry a gun, you better know the surrounding states that you're going in. You better know the rules because you could get in a lot of trouble if you get pulled over and you're not following their gun rules.
Well, that's totally 100% true.
So that's my advice. This guy got arrested just on basically Ruth Ann, a technicality. Legally could have carried the gun around, but illegally he had it concealed.
Yeah, because he had it hidden in his bunk, not on the seat.
And like the article said, he came from a state where that was legal. In Missouri, it was legal to do that. Mm-hmm. Michigan, it's not. So drivers, know your rules, know your laws. Google it, look it all up. You can even call law enforcement. In fact, you can call the DOT in every state that you're going to be traveling to. Find out the rules. If you're willing to carry a gun, protect your ass from the law because you may be breaking it. Moving on. What do you got for me? You got something for me?
I have an article that says that a truck driver caught with $21.1 million in fentanyl was pulled over in Cali-Mexico border.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I'm happy that he got caught.
So am I.
Because they said that fentanyl is flooding the United States.
Yep.
And, it's funny. Do you remember when crack came out? I remember, and they were going, all you do is smoke it one time and you're hooked. And I think it was true.
I'm sure it is. Look at all the people addicted to him.
But they say fentanyl.
It's worse.
Well, supposedly enough that fits on the tip of your finger can kill like 10 men.
Yeah. It's horrible.
So it's got to be some powerful crap. I mean, in all honesty, for people to even want to produce something like that, I hope every one of you get caught, especially if you're in the trucking industry.
It says that when he entered the port of entry there at the California border, they found 3,520,000 fentanyl pills concealed within a shipment of green beans.
Damn, 3 million fentanyl pills?
Right. 3.5 million.
How the hell do they know is that many? Oh, maybe each box contains. Well,
I'm
that's
sure
a lot of counting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. Can you imagine that though?
I guess obviously we can now. So, guys, crime don't pay.
It does not.
Yep. So, anyways, Ruth Ann, moving on. Do you have the word of the day?
I do.
What do you got? What is the word of the day? Are we waiting for it, or should I keep talking? Huh? She's over there clicking away.
And it's funny is I click one thing shut and then I reopened the same exact thing.
7 years of doing this show,
annoying.
And the word of the day is never there.
Well, I did have it. I did have to shut down because
You're
for whatever
lucky people love you. I'm telling you.
For some reason, my because we have the Mac, the Safari. For whatever reason, sometimes it just like no matter what I do, I have to end up reopening and
All right, I'm going to turn it up for you.
All right, ready?
Yep, I'm ready. Go ahead, hit it.
Bedite. Ooh.
Bedite.
I'm going to play it again.
Go ahead.
Bedite.
So what does bedite mean? Almost sounds like bidet.
Yeah, I know. I thought the same thing, but it's not.
All right, so what does it mean?
Adorned.
Adorned? Really?
Yes.
Use it in a sentence.
Use it in a sentence. Okay. The artist's walls were bedight in mirrors, which maximize the light. Holly never goes out without being bedight in antique jewelry.
Interesting. Ruth Ann, we're out of here.
Peace.
Praise the Lord.